Hey guys, it's Jen over at jenscrappypages.blogspot.com, and this is today's project. I was so excited to be able to bring it to you. I was watching Jennifer McGuire's video that she posted yesterday on stacked die cutting, and I loved it so much I decided to recreate it with the products that I had with Stampin' Up. She uses a little bit different method for her die cutting, so if you'd like to check her video out, it's Jennifer McGuire Inc. on YouTube. Otherwise, I'll show you how I did it, and I wanted to show you, I used it in an oval, and then did that in another color as well, and then I also used it for this card and just threw this happy birthday over it. This is actually the card that my Coffee and a Card and Cocktail and a Card class are going to make next week. I'm so excited to be able to show them how to do this. So let's get started with the products that I used and get on with the video. I will warn you, it's a little bit lengthy, or it will be a little bit lengthy just because of all the cutting that I feel you guys need to see in order to make this card. So for the products that I used, or the supplies, I did use some sparkles on mine. And I used two brand new stamp sets that are coming out in the 2017 Stampin' Up catalog that will be released June 1st. This one is a hostess set, so if you host, you'll be able to get this discounted. And this came as a bundle with the dies that I'll be showing you that I created these with. So enough of that. So the other one that I used was the Swirly Scribbles, and I used the little leaf from here. And this is the die set. It's called Lovely Words, and it goes with the stamp set that I just showed you as a bundle. And then I also used my Layering Circles Framelits. For ink, I had Versamark and Basic Black stamp pad. I used my fine tip glue pen for the gluing a little bit of the things. And then, forgive me, but I don't have Stampin' Up's clear embossing powder yet, but I did use clear embossing powder with that. I used a Wink of Stella to brush on a little bit of shimmer, and then 3 of our Stampin' Right markers, the Peekaboo Peach, the Flirty Flamingo, and the So Saffron. I also have glue dots, and I'll show you how I use those as well. So for cardstock, you are going to need a 4 1/4 by 11 basic black, and then a 3 1/2 by, let's see, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 basic black to cut out our die. And then the So Saffron, Flirty Flamingo, Peekaboo Peach, and Whisper White are all going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Then you'll need another piece of Whisper White that's going to be 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then you'll need a scrap of, I used the shimmery white cardstock to stamp out my flowers on. And I did pre-stamp them so they were well and dry before I colored them in. So let's get to all of the cutting first, because once you have that, the assembly isn't too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out, as I'll get those done first. And I have all of my dies lined up according to how they need to be layered. So I'm just going to push those off to the side, and we'll get out the handy dandy Big Shot. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, yeah, we're going to cut these out first. So our basic black, we're going to use our Hugs die, and then we're going to put this, excuse me, that's just going to go around that. You want to make sure that your edges are even on this one. And then we'll cut out the scalloped circle from this. And then we're going to bring our circle back in, and then we're going to take the smaller die here and make sure all of our edges are even with those scallops. We're going to cut this one as well. So now that we have those cut, I'm going to grab our Flirty Flamingo. That's going to be our first one that we'll cut. And that is going to go, when we cut this out, I used my circle as a guide to where I wanted to cut this out. So basically it's just going to be, your edges are going to be even on either side, and the top is where we're going to place this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this circle, making sure our edges are even in here, and that's going to be cut out. So now I'm going to use this piece as a template for our next one. And you're just going to want to stack those up directly on top of each other to make sure that we get it centered where we need this next circle to be. So I'm going to take my next smallest circle, and that's going to just get placed here in the center, making sure all of your edges are even once again. And finally, we're going to take our So Saffron, and we're going to do the same thing again and line up our last circle in the center of that one. So what you will end up having is you're going to have these 3 pieces plus these 2. These will end up getting stacked all on top of one another. And so you'll end up having that kind of bullseye. And then that is going to get put on top of here. So I'm going to go ahead, and the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to emboss our hugs. And how I did that is I took my Versamark, and you might want to have tweezers or scissors or something to kind of hold this down. But we're just going to press really nicely on here, and we're going to cover our whole entire piece with the Versamark. So you just want to make sure that's all covered. And then I'm actually going to flip my piece of paper so my embossing powder does not get stuck to the paper when I do this. And that's just going to get poured over so it covers. And then we're going to carefully lift it up. And then I'm going to heat emboss it. Now this would be fine just on its own. As you can see, I have a nice layer of embossing powder on there, but I didn't feel like that was enough because some of the areas didn't quite get covered as well. So I'm going to go ahead and emboss that a second time. And by doing the exact same thing again with our Versamark and then the embossing powder. And I'll just fast forward through this part. So I just absolutely love the texture that gives that die cut image. Isn't that just really beautiful? So I'm going to set this aside just to kind of let it cool off and dry a little bit. And then I'll bring in my flowers quick. And what I did with these is I colored each one of them using a different color. So for this one, I colored in the pink on here, and then let me bring in my card. And so this is how I did it. And I'll fast forward as I go through just so you don't have to watch me color, because it does take a little while. And I didn't do any shading or anything special. I just colored it in. So this flower is going to be pink. And so my next one, I'm going to just color in the little dots here, pink. And then on the last one, I'm going to color in my center of it pink, or flirty flamingo, if you will. And then I'm going to repeat that step with each of my colors then. So once all of your flowers are done, then you're going to cut each out. And all I did is I left a little bit of an edge around each flower. All right, so now we have all 3 of those flowers cut out, and I think we're ready to go ahead and assemble. So this is where our fine tip glue pen is going to come in, and I'm just going to go around the edge. I'm not going to put any glue on the word itself. And just make sure you're careful with the amount of glue that you put on so it doesn't squirt out onto your cardstock. Since the glue itself dries a little bit shiny. So this is just going to go on top of the Flirty Flamingo, and I put it at an angle. And then you're just going to press down until that adheres to it and it's dry, which doesn't take too long. So once that is dry, then you're going to take your little scalloped circle and you're going to do the same. You're going to put the fine tip glue pen on it and adhere it here. And that's just going to go centered over the black. So it's kind of nice to have that little hint of black coming through. And again, you're just going to kind of press down on that and make sure that that sticks. Okay, so now that it's just going to be adhering all of these pieces together. So you'll want to use a pretty decent glue to adhere them all together so they don't, all the layers don't fall apart. And this is where you're going to want to be really careful with your measuring when you cut it. And you're also going to want to be careful with how you line it up, because you want your edges to be even. So just, I start at one corner, move to the other, and then like up here. So now I know that all of my edges are even on here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere all of these pieces together. And then these are all going to get adhered to your card base. And so what you will have will look like this so far, which is really pretty in and of itself. And I also like the depth that it gives, and you can see the colors that are in the cardstock as well behind it. So now we're going to add our flowers, and I just use a little glue dot on each one of them. So this flower is going to go roughly here, and then we'll put our Peekaboo Peach one, just kind of layering over it a little bit. And then finally our So Saffron is going to go up here. And then the one thing I did forget to tell you for supplies is I used some Pear Pizzazz to cut out my little leaves, and you'll need 5 of those. And then to put my leaves on, I just put each one of them on a little glue dot and adhered them. And they're just going to get just kind of stuck under each of the flowers. Might put that at a different angle. Isn't this turning out just super cute? I feel so serious because there's so much detail in here, and I don't want to have like a 45-minute video for you guys. So I feel like I'm down to business here, guys, just trying to get this done for you. I was super excited with how this turned out. And, you know, it can be done in all sorts of different colors. You could do rainbow, you could do tone on tone. So check out Jennifer's video too. She does a lot of really cool things with these. So now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and add my sentiment. And I did wait until after everything was done before I added my sentiment, which, I mean, that's kind of risky because, you know, if you mess up, then... So maybe I should have just decorated this front part and then assembled everything. So hopefully we can get this little sentiment on here right without without messing it up. So then I just put my sentiment, and I'm trying not to get I'm going to bring this down here. Try not to get it in my head in the way. Oh, perfect. Look at that. Isn't that just, oh, absolutely adorable. So then the finishing touches, you guys know how I am with my Wink of Stella, so I'm just going to go ahead and rub my Wink of Stella, or my little shimmer, onto each one of these flowers. Isn't that just pretty? So you get the shine from the word and the shimmer from the Wink of Stella on the flowers. And I am going to add just one of these little medium sparkles into the center of each of my flowers, and then we are done with this card. What do you guys think? Isn't that just the prettiest? You know what it reminds me of is the cartoons that we used to watch on Saturday mornings, Bugs Bunny, and how it had that little, you know, thingy in the center where it had all the different colors. So every time I see this card, that's what I think of now. So this is it. I'll bring these other ones back in. And I really like this color combination too. This is, well, now I can't think of what it is. So I will post the colors that this one is used. But when I made this one, I thought, well, I'd go ahead and make one this same color too. So, so here it is. Isn't that just pretty, pretty? Oh, all the combinations. And just think of the investment that you spend in your layering circles or your layering ovals. It's all paid off on this one card. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys learned a little something new, and I hope you're as excited about this technique as I am. If you would like, I will have the dimensions written out on my blog, but if you want to recreate it, then just come back to the video. So, jenscrappypages.blogspot.com, and thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.